Hey everybody, good evening and welcome to the 31st episode of Bright Spots. I am so excited that you've decided to join us tonight. It is a special day for so many reasons. It is Veterans Day, of course, and this is a special Veterans Day broadcast, and we're going to be honoring some veterans, and we're going to be talking with a veteran this evening. And it's also Baby Day for me. Those of you that know me know that I'm expecting our second granddaughter, and our daughter and her husband have been at the hospital all day waiting for this baby's arrival, and I'm hoping that it happens very soon. So if I take a quick leave from the show and Deb, our guest, takes over, you'll kind of get an idea what's going on. But I promise if anything happens while we're on the air, I will certainly let you know. It's just been a long day of waiting and you know, helping and hoping and praying and all the fun stuff you do when you're waiting for a baby to be born. But it's an exciting day. And, you know, I'm the mother of a veteran and the daughter of a veteran. So Veterans Day is very important to me. So last week I put a shout out to see if there was anyone out there that would like to share their special veterans picture and their name and their military service. And we put together a quick video. And before we get the show started today, I would like to share that with you. So to everyone who submitted pictures and names, thank you very much. And if you see your picture and name and you didn't send it in, I may have just gone and grabbed it. All right. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. Thank you for our freedom. Boy, that just gives me the goosebumps, just seeing all the names and faces of people who have fought bravely for our freedoms. Some of you are saying you didn't know about the video being put together. If you're watching tonight and you didn't participate in the video, please drop me a message below. Give me the name of your loved one or the person that you know that is a veteran and their branch of service, and we'll put it up on the screen so that we can honor them this evening as well. So I would like to introduce this evening's guest. Tonight's guest is very special to me. Deb and I graduated from high school together a few years ago, not too long ago. And so I've known Deb a very long time. And we were both prodigies. I think we were 12 when we graduated, and Deb will confirm that when she gets on screen. So Deb is retired U.S. Navy Chief Hospital Corpsman. She retired in 2008 after 20 years of service. Her duty stations included a variety of places that she's going to talk a little bit about. And during her career, Deb worked in patient care, administration, she was an instructor, and she did personal leadership. So please give a warm Bright Spots welcome to Deb Gilchrist. Hey, Deb.
Hi, Lori. How are you?
I'm doing great. It is so good to have you on this show. Tonight being Veterans Day, I can't think of anyone else I'd like to honor this evening than you for the service that you've given this country. And, you know, I'm just curious, why did you join the military and why the Navy?
It was, sometimes I ask myself that, but it was one of those things that I think I always kind of wanted to do. And for me, it was just, Navy was just a natural choice. My dad was in the Navy. My uncles were in the Navy. It was time. It was something I think I needed to do at the time. Something that was always in the back of my head. So I jumped in and did it.
So was there a recruiter involved, or did you just make the decision one day that you just knew that you were going into the Navy?
I made the decision. I went and talked to the recruiter, and I had him ready to sign up by the time I was done.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, he was ready to sign up, not...
So what was the military like when you joined the military? Were women being accepted into the military? Was it still kind of new to have women in the military? And especially the Navy, where you're on a ship out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, by the time I joined, women were on ships, even though I wasn't on board a ship for several years into my career. But being a hospital corpsman, that's where a lot of the women... It's a higher percentage of women than a lot of the other rates. The hospital corpsman, which is medical, some of your admin rates, jobs, there's more women than there are in some of the machinery rates, the engine room, the combat systems. So for me, it wasn't that big of a deal. It was just, you went, did your job, and I didn't notice a lot of issues. I never noticed it. Other people might have. I didn't.
So how did your dad react to you joining the Navy? Was he good with it?
My dad never said a lot, but you had to watch him. I was home from right after boot camp and before I started my hospital corpsman school. I was home, and we went to church it was Christmas Eve, and I had my uniform on, I believe. And I heard him saying, "That's my daughter. She's in the Navy. She's up at Great Lakes right now." So that's when I knew.
So you mentioned boot camp, and we just happened to have a photo of Deb from graduating boot camp. So there she is. And this was what year?
1987.
1987. So you waited a while after graduation. Did you go to college first and then join the military?
Yes, I did. I went to college and I finished everything but the degree. I only needed a couple classes. I did finish that once I got in the Navy. But I was at that crossroads, and it was, like I said earlier, it was that time. So I just joined it. I did it. So yeah, I went to college for a few years and worked for about a year, and then joined the Navy.
So tell us about the duty stations, where you served, what that was like, how you transitioned from being on land to being on sea. Share a little bit of the, give us some cool stories about being in the military.
I don't know that. I always say I don't have any cool stories, but maybe other people find them cool. I don't know. People laugh when I tell them my duty stations. Oh, you've had it so rough. My first duty station was Key West, Florida. Okay. Yeah, not a really rough place to hang out. Didn't have to worry about hurricanes the 2 years I was there, but it was a lot of fun for a 22, 23-year-old. Oh, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then from there, where did I go? I went to a school, and then I ended up in Port Hueneme, California. So I was stationed with the Seabees at their training command. So I spent a couple years training Seabees. Now that was interesting because women weren't in battalions at the time. And I'm a female, and I was a hospital corpsman, which is considered a fleet rate. You have the Seabees, construction battalion guys, and then the fleet people, the people who go on ships, or you normally go on ships. So I was a fleet rate woman teaching these guys basic rescue and chemical biological defense. That could be interesting. And then here comes the next really rough one, Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. And Pearl Harbor, you either love it or you deal with it. I dealt with it. It was great for the first couple months. Hey, fun. Then it got boring. I mean, I'm sorry, you can only take so much paradise. I missed change of seasons. It was hot. I used to go to movies in the afternoon so I could be in the air conditioning because my apartment was on the opposite side from the ocean. So I didn't get the ocean breeze. I was on the mountainside, no breeze. It was hot in my apartment. So I'd go to a movie all the time, every weekend. In fact, that was the only place I lived, though, where my rent went down every year. They lowered my rent every year because I stayed at that same place. And they'd give me little things like they'd give me movie tickets. Okay, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, so tell me how bad paradise is when we have 4 feet of snow here in Ohio.
Actually, I don't mind 4 feet of snow because it doesn't last that long. The most I've been snowed in for was a week. And where do I go? From Hawaii, I went to Bethesda, Maryland, to the Armed Forces Radiobiology Research Institute, which I got to admit, that's probably my favorite duty station. It's just, I learned so much. It was a lot of fun. That was the first place I've been where there's just as many, if not more, civilian employees as there were military. It was my first tri-service duty station. So we had Army, Navy, and Air Force, as well as civilian. It was a lot of fun. I just really enjoyed it. The people, our staff, they were great. And then from there is when I went to sea. I went to the USS George Washington, which is an aircraft carrier. At the time, it was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia. It's since moved to Japan, I believe. And we did a 6-month deployment. I was there for about 2 years on board, and that's where I made chief. I became a chief petty officer. And for those other branches, that's an E7. And then from there, I went to another instructor duty up in Groton, Connecticut, and then back to Bethesda, to the Naval Hospital. And that's where I retired from. That's my career in a nutshell.
Okay. So what, if anything, do you miss the most about military life?
Probably you know exactly what you're going to do from day to day to day. And you don't have to worry about what you're going to wear either. Wardrobe was easy then.
So structure.
The structure, yes, the structure. Because now I'm retired, I'm kind of like, all right. I always laughed at my dad. It's like, oh, I'll get to that. I never realized how much time you don't have when you're retired. I don't know what I do with all my time, but there's just no time.
And what do you think you miss the least?
The politics, probably. Because the higher ranking you go, the more the political structure is going to be. And that's with any job, I think. And I've never been really good at playing politics, if you will. I was there when I became chief, I was there for the sailors. I wasn't there just for myself to make myself look good, to set this policy, that policy. I want to make a difference, yes, but my primary concern was the sailors and their well-being and making sure they had what they need.
Okay. So before you retired, 9/11 happened.
Mm-hmm. I was on board ship.
So tell us about this picture and tell us about what happened the days following 9/11. This is September 12th, 2001, and this ship is the
USS George Washington.
Okay.
That's the ship I was on. Okay. And when I woke up that morning, I looked out off the ship toward New York, and that's what I saw. That was my view.
What was going through your mind then? I know you've shared this story on the 9/11 memorial services, but just give us a quick synopsis.
It was an interesting time because that's the year I made chief. And we were only supposed to be out for 3 days, be back in port. My father was going to come down and watch me get promoted, get pinned for chief, get my anchors. And it's like, we didn't know what was going on. There was a lot of uncertainty. Like, are we going to be in? Are we going to be out? What's going on? What's going on? What's next? So uncertainty, but trying to keep a level head because, well, the sailors needed somebody to stay calm. They were kind of, the kids were freaking out a little bit. It's like, well, what are we going to do? What do I tell my mommy and daddy? It's like, well, you're not going to tell your mom and dad anything because we don't really have communications off the ship, but somebody will tell them if they need what they need to know. And that, I can't say that's the first time I've ever been involved in a situation where families didn't know what was going on with their sailor. When I was stationed in Port Hueneme, I had duty the night that when we invaded Iraq. When we first started going after Iraq, I had duty that night. And of course, any parent had their kid in school there, like, is my son still there? Is my child still at school? So in both situations, they're parallel. Trying to keep people calm while in the back of your mind, it's like, I want to freak out too.
Okay. So since retirement, you've come back to your hometown here in Brilliant, Ohio. Yeah. And, you've been back now 5 years.
Just about, yeah, it is 5 years. Oh my gosh, this month.
5 years. And you've become very active in the American Legion, Post 573. You are currently the commander, correct?
Yes, I am.
So tell us why it's important to be a part of the American Legion.
There's so much that the Legion actually does for veterans that people don't realize. They don't realize that it's actually a service organization. I don't know if you can remember back when we were in school that the Legion was there. They always donated to the football team, to the band. They helped make sure our programs thrived, that we still had those programs. Little League, they sponsor Little League. Our post does a lot with youth and child organizations. We also are there to point the veterans in the right direction if they need help with their benefits. There's so many benefits that veterans don't know about. I'll be honest, I probably don't know all the benefits that I'm entitled to either. I know I'm not using a lot of them, but the Legion can help you. We have the resources. If you don't know where to go, I might not be able to tell you exactly where to go, but I know where to find the answer. And that's what the Legion does. It helps veterans find the answers they're looking for.
So if someone's watching this broadcast or later this episode and they go, wow, maybe I should go down and check out the Legion, what's their first step? What should they do first?
A lot of times they'll just come in, and we have a place they come in the evening just to sit back and relax, where people come in. But that's not the whole focus of the Legion. Talk to somebody who's a Legionnaire. You can call any post. You can go online. In fact, yes, the Legion's been a part of my life my whole life because my dad was the adjutant of my post from the time I was born till the time he died. So for over 50 years, my dad was the adjutant of Brilliant. So, but there was so much I didn't know.
So for
you
the
can go
people that are
online and look it
watching,
up.
hey
I'm
Deb,
sorry.
for the people that are watching that don't know what that means, the position your father held with the Legion, explain what that means.
An adjutant is kind of like a secretary. They take care of all the correspondence and administration, membership, making sure everybody gets their cards, their membership cards and everything. Helps to make sure that you qualify. We don't just let every veteran into the Legion. You have to be honorably discharged. And, because to honorably serve the Legion, you need to have honorably served your country.
Sure. So how many members does the Legion, the American Legion here in Brilliant, have now?
About 100.
Okay. And back when your dad was in the Legion, in just a comparison, how many?
Oh, they probably had a couple, 200 or 300. There was so many more. Yeah. I remember he had the membership thing, and it was probably about that thick. Now it's about that thick. So.
And I think there's a real misconception about what the American Legion is. I think a lot of people think when they think American Legion and they drive by and they see the Legion, they think it's a bar. They think it's just a bar. But that's truly not what it is. There's so much more to it than that, with the resources that are available, the expertise that is there to help them. I know my dad, as a veteran, he also did not know what services and what benefits were available to him. And not only that, he wasn't sure that he deserved the benefits because he didn't retire from the military. And I think that's a misconception with our military veterans as well, that some of the guys and gals, perhaps that served, 3 or 4 years during the Vietnam era, or they only served a certain period of time, they don't think they're entitled to those benefits. But truly, there are benefits for all veterans who honorably served and honorably were discharged.
I mean, you have to think about it. You, for whatever period of time you served, you honorably served, you were writing a blank check to this country and payable with your life, potentially. Whether it be, even if time of peace, there's still things that come up that peace isn't always peaceful. So you've given up a lot for whatever period of time you served. And yes, you do deserve the benefits that you're offered. And you deserve to know about them.
So is there anything else you'd like to share about your military service before we move into the next topic?
It's interesting because you asked what it was. You asked a little bit about the duty stations and what it was like. Well, when I first joined the Navy, I was in a small command, and coming from a small town, it was like, okay, it's no different. I think the biggest command I was ever at was on the aircraft carrier, which there were more people on that aircraft carrier than there were in Brilliant growing up. So that was a floating city, but the culture changed over the 20 years, and you expect that to happen. But we match society to a point. We are our own subculture of society, but there's certain things that we mirror. And you notice that with the kids coming in. A lot of kids both parents worked or broken homes, and just they needed a lot more guidance than I think we did when I first joined.
So why do you think young folks aren't joining the Legion now?
They don't know what it's about. Part of it is they don't know what it's about. And if they do know, they're thinking, I don't have time for that. Right now, when I'm growing up, it was a big family-oriented thing. We had picnics. We had things for kids. We had programs for the kids. I mean, we still have Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, but we don't have the young families anymore, which I think if we did, they'd see a lot more of what we do for the community and for our veterans and their families.
Okay.
Just they don't necessarily know what it offers.
Right. So you have a hobby, and that is genealogy. And you put together the Brilliant Museum with photographs and memorabilia. And So tell us what got you into genealogy. How did you stumble into that, and why does that make you tick?
I just kind of got curious about it. You know, you come across all these old pictures, and it's like, well, some of these I remember Grandma telling me this one and that one. And then you want to learn more about those people. And I guess maybe I've always had a little thing for history. And then it just balloons from there. I mean, you want to know about your great-grandmother. Okay, well, my great-grandmother was married to my great-grandfather. You know, they had parents. Wow, what did they do? Where did they come from? Part of it was trying to find out, where did I come from? Where did my family come from? And, you know, the last name Gilchrist, Scotland. Okay, that's easy enough. And one of the interesting things I found is my great-grandfather was actually adopted into the Gilchrist family. His mother married a Gilchrist after I don't know who his father was, because I can't find birth records from 1850s aren't real good. So that's my mystery, to find out who his father was.
That's cool. So what's the most unique thing you have found about Brilliant that you didn't already know?
Oh, wow. Well, you know, we celebrated our 200th anniversary, 200 in 2019, last year. Well, actually, we were founded, the town was laid out in 1817. It wasn't incorporated until 1819. Another thing that's interesting, you know, we have this bridge that's being built. And it's finally being built. It was actually approved, and they had plans, and they had a contractor back in 1921. Wow. I don't know why it wasn't built then, but it was supposed to be built, and it was going to have the same design as the old Fort Steuben Bridge.
Okay.
I always thought that was kind of interesting. Just when you look at what's happening today, and then I look back, it's like, wow, that happened before. In 1919, the town was quarantined because of the flu pandemic. And now here we are 100 years later, where the town's not quarantined, but there's a lot of quarantines going on throughout. So it's just, history repeats itself.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really awesome. Well, Deb, it has been a pleasure to have you in the studio. Is there anything else you wanted to share that we haven't covered?
Well, you mentioned the history thing. One thing I would love to do, and I don't see that happening anytime in the near future, is to have an actual museum. Since I don't have an actual museum, I do have a virtual museum on Facebook, the Brilliant, Ohio Virtual History Museum. So I try to keep things updated. If anybody wants to look, it's right there.
That's what it's called, is the
Brilliant Ohio Virtual History Museum.
We're going to put that on the screen. Brilliant Ohio Virtual History Museum. All right, so if you want to see the Brilliant Ohio Virtual History Museum on Facebook, just go to Facebook and search that, and you will find it, and you can see all the work that Deb has done on the history of Brilliant. One of the pages that I find very interesting also on Facebook, if you're interested in Brilliant, is the I'm from Brilliant and Couldn't Be Prouder page. Yep. Often pictures posted on there, and you go, oh, I remember that. You know, that's a neat thing when you've technically grown up here. I've spent my formidable years here, I guess, 6 years, from 4th grade to 10th grade. And then I was gone for a year and came back for my senior year. So, and I've been here ever since. So,
yes, you have.
37 years. I guess it's
weeks.
Yeah, a couple of weeks. That's right. It hasn't been that long ago.
We don't consider you a foreigner anymore.
Right? I mean, we were 12 when we graduated. We were prodigies, right?
Wow, that's true. And I don't look a day over 35.
That's right. Dang it. So, well, Deb, it has truly been a pleasure having you on the show and hearing about your time in the military. And I have such a heart for veterans, and, you know, this country would be nothing without them. We would not have the freedoms that we have. And I think it's so very important to honor them. And so thank you for your service to our country and to the people of this community and the things that you do here to make it a better place for us to live.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful
No baby yet, huh?
No baby yet. No baby yet, guys. I'm still waiting. I'm going to close with the veteran video. But before I do that, I do want to just mention that next week, our guest is Lois Wagner of Johannesburg, Gauteng, South Africa. And she is going to be joining us next Wednesday, November 18th, 7 p.m. I think you will truly enjoy hearing from Lois. She has a new book that she's going to talk with us about. And I hope that you can come back and join us for that episode. And we're going to close the show out with the veteran video. And thank you all so much for joining us. And we have a message from Nina. Thank you, Nina. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. And maybe we'll have Deb back sometime to talk to us about what's going on when that bridge is built, right? Talk about the bridge, maybe.
By the way, I know I didn't get the picture in, but I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I mentioned I had the picture of my great uncle from World War I. I don't know how well you can see this, but.
Oh, yeah. Actually, it's showing up pretty good. I'm going to make it big, though, so that people, yes, look at that. And what was his name?
That was Carl Gilchrist.
Carl Gilchrist from World War I.
And that's
our only World War I.
I.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Deb. That is fabulous.
Well,
all right.
I knew I had the picture handy.
Yeah, that was good timing. All right, everyone. Have a safe and wonderful evening, and we'll see you next week. And God bless our veterans.